Dortmund. How did you come about with this idea, and what did the players make of it? No, it came about by watching Borussia's home matches. It came about because of the awareness of the atmosphere that we will encounter. So I wanted the players to be ready from every perspective. We've prepared technically and tactically, and in terms of the atmosphere, I wanted them to be prepared as well. So it's going to be very important for them to communicate well on the pitch, and they might not even necessarily hear my voice. So I think it's important to prepare small details such as those, which can be very useful in terms of what we should expect tomorrow. Corriere della Sera. Would a draw be a negative result? We need to approach matches with the right mentality, and that's to go out there, give absolutely everything and try and win the game. It's certainly going to be an important match tomorrow in terms of the way the group pans out, but there'll still be 4 match days after that, 12 points available, so there still would be scope for all 4 teams to make it through the group stage. But we weren't able to win our first home match, so it'll be an important game. Dortmund lost in match day 1 against PSG, so it will be important. It won't be decisive, but it will have an impact. But we want to approach the game well. We're up against a side that hasn't lost in almost 2 years in the Champions League at home. Their last defeat there was in November of 2021. We know what to expect, but we still have a great deal of faith in our ability and quality in the way we play football. Gazzetta dello Sport. A question in terms of what you spoke to us about with regards to Tijani Reinders and his position as to whether he'll play as a number 8 or a deep-lying playmaker. Can you tell us whether he will play as a number 8, because he did play as a deep-lying playmaker late on against Lazio? What will you actually ask your holding midfielder tomorrow, to keep the ball or to defend? It will ultimately depend not necessarily on the holding midfielder, but in terms of which type of number 8 I wish to use, whether it's one who makes forward runs breaking from deep. It might be Yunus Musa in that position. If I want a number 8 that keeps the ball better, it would be Tijani Reinders. As for the holding midfielder, that is a player that needs to stay there to keep the ball ticking over, to build up play, but also they need to provide defensive solidity and try and win the ball back and intercept where possible. Question for Malik. I think you're the only player in the Milan squad who's German, so you'll be playing in a ground that you know. So this is a ground you know very well. You've played here many times. What does it mean, given that the head coach Stefano Pioli said earlier on that there's a very unique atmosphere here? What does it mean to you to come back to Dortmund? And what does it mean, given that in Milanello this morning you heard this noise, this roar that you will encounter tomorrow evening?
Stimmt auf jeden Fall. Das Stadion hier ist sehr, sehr bekannt in Deutschland. Ich selber persönlich habe aber hier noch nie wirklich gespielt gegen Dortmund. Wo ich hier gespielt habe, war es ohne die Fans. Deswegen, es war in der Corona-Zeit, deswegen habe ich das selber persönlich noch nie erlebt. Aber es ist in ganz Deutschland bekannt, deswegen hört man dann davon, vor allem wegen der Rivalität mit Schalke. Und mit Dortmund habe ich das oft in Schalke erlebt, wie das dann ist. Deswegen denke ich, wird es eine Riesenstimmung sein morgen. Und ja, wir sind sehr glücklich und können es kaum erwarten und haben große Vorfreude. Und der Trainer hat es heute schon ein bisschen versucht nachzuahmen, aber natürlich ist es nochmal was ganz anderes, morgen hier zu sein und das heute im Training. Ja.
Calciomercato, prego.
Good evening, Stefano. With regards to the way Dortmund play, they play football, but they also allow their opponents to play a lot of football as well. What do you make of that? And in terms of your 3 impressive wins in a row in Serie A, are you even more optimistic than you were prior to the Newcastle game? Dortmund do play an attacking brand of football, yes, but besides their shape, they can play in 2 different systems. but they always have 5 very attacking, quick, quality players. And they, yes, might afford us some opportunities, but it depends on how well we're able to attack spaces and how well we're able to control the tempo. We need to approach the game well. We need to make sure that we're very compact, we have great intelligence, and that we make the right decisions tactically. Of course, wins help you to grow. They also help you to grow in confidence. They're also on the back of 3 league wins, so it's only tomorrow night's match which matters. Radio Rai. Hi, Stefano. Listen, this rumour about Yacine Adli on the bench, is it true? Who told you this? So you guys write these stories and then you ask me. No, I've got 4 midfielders, 3 of them will start the game and 1 will be ready to step in and come off the bench if and when we need them. We'll see tomorrow. Gazzetta. There's a big smile on the face of Rafael Leao. Is that how he prepares for matches? Is he carefree? Always. He's always like that. But the majority of my players are like that. And I think that's the way that we work. That's the way we approach everything. We are consummate professionals, but we're also nice and relaxed. And I think that's the way things work for us. And I think we need to press ahead with that. Are there any questions from any members of the German media? No? Okay, if I'm not mistaken, Aria. Hi, Stefano. The experience from last season in such big grounds, what do you think that can offer you this season? And you've also brought in players that have European experience. Do you think that can help the team as well? Yes, that's what I told the team earlier on. Obviously, 2 years ago when we made our Champions League debut, for want of a better word, at Anfield, which could be very similar to the atmosphere we'll encounter tomorrow. It might only be natural that we were intimidated at that stage. But now, over the last 2 years, we've got used to situations such as these. We know how to approach them. We will go out there in what's an electrifying atmosphere, and we need to try and harness the determination to put out there on the pitch. Malik, you have played with Tomori and Kier at the start of this season. How does your style of defending change based on who you play alongside? Are you better alongside one as opposed to the other? They're both fantastic defenders. We all have different qualities and we all play a different game. So we try and alternate on the pitch. I think we can play as a back 3 or as 2 centre-backs, but in general terms, I think we do have enough ability to be able to help out the team. Question in German? Malik, you've already said that you've played in this stadium, albeit it was behind closed doors because it was during COVID-19. What's your relationship like with the fans? And what do you think about the way this game will go? Yes, as I said, I played for Schalke. So it was almost a private battle, if you will, because it was behind closed doors. It's not a bad situation at this moment in time in Schalke, and I'll try and approach the game as best I can based on my experience. Good evening, Stefano. We saw you out there on the pitch earlier on having a very intense conversation with Theo Hernandez. How is he, given that he didn't necessarily produce his best football in recent matches? Why do you think that is? I don't agree. as opposed to his performances. Theo's playing well. We spoke about tomorrow's game and about the positions that he needs to take up when we have the ball. He needs to read the situations well, and he needs to try and attack the space as and when the opportunity is right. Christian Pulisic will make his 50th Champions League appearance tomorrow night, so he's an experienced quality player. He's someone who will give absolutely everything to help out the team and to try and showcase his own ability. Vinci. Hi, Stefano. Good evening. I'm sure you watched Dortmund's game against Hoffenheim on Friday night. You would have seen some strengths and weaknesses, particularly the way the opposition countered when it was 2-1 in the scoreline. Yes, that's a situation that we need to be very careful about, because often when they defend, they have 3 or 4 players beyond the ball, so they've got a lot of quality, they're very quick, so we need to make sure that we shut things down, we make the right choices with possession and don't lose the ball, because they can be very good in transition. But I also know that if they commit 4 or 5 players beyond the ball, that also means they don't have too many players back, which means we could also have some spaces depending on our decisions. Thank you very much, everyone.